You're muted.
Perfect. Okay, so you'll be able to go back to this once the recording is done. I'm going to send it to you guys. Okay, so the first thing, as I said, so this is, I'm going to get back to it. This is Project Pulse. You probably have a similar background, only you don't have the projects yet. You only have the plus button here. And you, of course, have the left panel here. And My Drafts, as I said before, is the place where you author your projects. This is the place where you will start a project yourself, make sure that it's perfect, and then once it's done, then you will actually assign it to your class. On the left side, you also see the Project Pulse catalog. I already said that there are three ways to actually create a project in Project Pulse. One of them is the one that we recommend that you start with is to clone a project from the Project Pulse catalog. The other way to do this is, of course, to use the plus button, and I'm going to show you how you use the plus button using our wizard, where you can combine from the catalog all our different one-tab templates that may fit more what you are planning to do with your students. And the third way, also using the plus button, but in this case, you're not going to choose any of our one-tab templates. You just feel very comfortable using Project Pulse, and you would like to design your own project. In that case, you will click again on this. But in this case, you're going to choose an empty tab, and you will start designing your own project. So these are the three ways to create projects in Project Pulse. If you look down here in the middle, there is a button that says, there is an area that says My Classes, and there is a plus button. I would like all of you, please, to click on the plus button. And then you have two options here, Join Class and Create Class. I would like you to choose the Create Class. Now for Lori, who is using Canvas, you need to type in, and this is only for people who are using Canvas and don't have the Google Classroom. I would like you to type in the name of the class, the subject, if you want grade level, and then create. And then Jay is going to send you that email that I already sent him with there are three sign-up links. The one that I shared with you is the teacher sign-up link. There is also a student sign-up link. And that one you need to send to your students. They will sign up. And once they sign up, you will also provide them in a minute. I'm going to show you with the class code. And once they, and then they will, once they signed up, they will choose the join class. And when they click join class, they will type in the class code and they are in the class. That's all. Now, let me go back to those of you who want to import your Google Classrooms. And you don't need to fill out anything. You just need to click on import a Google Classroom. Now, the reason that this is one at a time, and I apologize, our development team works on actually providing you a way to import all your Google Classrooms at once, if you wish to. The problem was that they were not very happy with the interface that they designed. Don't ask me. I don't know what were the considerations, but right now that's what we have. So I apologize ahead of time, but it's going to be available in the next few days. So just to show you how to do that, just click on the import a Google Classroom. And in this case, in my case, sorry, I need to actually shift to another account because I don't have a Google Classroom here, but I have in another one. So let me just show you. And okay. And so now when I click the plus button and I go to the create class, then I'm clicking on import a Google Classroom. And since I only have one sample class, that's all it will show for me. And then you select that class. And then it provides you with a list of your students. The reason we do it this way is because some schools are only using this for their gifted. So in that case, they just want to select which students are going to work on this. But you have the select all button when you want to import them all, and then just click on the sync button. And when you do that, you are actually getting your students listed here. I don't know why Google interprets one of my one of my students as a teacher, but it does it constantly. And I just decided not to even bother with figuring this out. But generally speaking, it has to list all the students here.
Ms. Barger, I have a quick question.
Yes.
So I did the import, but it imported the same class twice. Is there a reason why?
No, that's weird because I don't know. Everybody got the same experience? Did anybody already import their classes? Did you import it?
That happened to me, but that was because I named the class first and then I clicked import, like
Oh, I
and filled
see.
in the boxes. So then it created an empty class and then
I
it created
see.
my imported class as
I
well. So I don't
see.
know if that's what happened to you too.
Maybe.
Okay. So you can remove that. You can remove that, and the way to remove it is to go to settings and to go to archive class. So the class that you don't need, just archive it. The reason it says archive is because really nothing in Project Pause is deleted permanently. And again, the reason is because of students. We don't want students to either inadvertently and sometimes in purpose to delete things and then those things cannot be recovered. We wanted to make sure that everything can be recovered. So I'm gonna give you a few more minutes to import your classes. And we'll check with you if everybody's finished in a few minutes.
So I think I pressed something wrong. I have like several. Is there a way to delete them? Because there's some with no students. And that's on me. I did something.
To delete students or to delete the entire class?
Delete the entire class.
Okay, so to delete the entire class is basically, let me just go back to that account. So to delete a class, I click here on the class and then go to settings. And in settings, there is a red button that says archive class. Just press it and it will delete the class.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Sure. Anybody still working on importing classes? You can tell me in the chat. Can I move on?
Yes, please.
Okay, perfect. All right, so the next step after this is I would like to introduce you to the catalog. And before I do that, maybe give you a little bit of an introduction about the different types of projects. So the project-based learning environment usually is the type of environment where you are trying to solve a problem, any problem, you know, in life. Usually problems in life are of the nature that they are interdisciplinary. So something you're trying to solve usually has a lot of aspects. Many times, you know, you look at a project and you see that it has a math aspect and it has a social studies aspect, even though the project is, let's say, in science, okay? And so usually this is the ideal environment for project-based learning where you are trying to look at the problem from different perspectives, because that usually helps and contributes and helps the students to solve the problem. And, you know, they are able to actually come up with much more educated decisions after that. And you will find several of these problems in the catalog. You will also find other types of problems, those that, you know, are just one thing to solve and that's it. Usually those are the, I would say, the traditional project, the traditional, for example, you know, when I was in school, then the teacher assigned a project about planets. And then I just went on and did research about planets. Nothing to solve here. It's just basically, you know, like a summary of everything. And that's all. So you will probably find some of the projects here that are also of that nature. But like I said before, that type of environment where students actually have to investigate the different aspects of a problem are much more interesting to students because it becomes kind of like an investigative environment, like they are detectives and they are trying to come up with a solution for something that's bigger. And please feel free to ask questions or stop me anytime if you have any. So for example, let me give you examples of all of this. So for example, the math of obesity is a very simple project. All it does really, students are coming into it and they are basically learning to interpret, and they are going to this website. They are learning to interpret charts, graphs and charts, and come up with and have a lot of questions about them and write answers. So this is really a very simple kind of like a, you know, it's some type of an analysis because you're trying to interpret charts and you know, and that's a very important skill to know these days for everything almost. But other than that, this is not really the I would say the ideal or the real project-based learning that we all want, you know, want to engage in. On the other hand, there are other types of projects, for example, design the city of your dreams. And design the city of your dreams actually looks at many perspectives of how to design the city. So first of all, they are learning in general about, you know, the city versus rural living. And then they learn about and then do a summary about that. And they have a whole bunch of guiding questions for that. And like I said before in my previous presentation, each of this is a tab, and each tab is a phase in the project. So from the comparison here, we are moving on to the city history. So, you know, again, this is the history of my city. So yes, in a team project, probably this is a problem because if there are 3 people, each of them maybe has no, actually in a school, it's the same city. So this shouldn't be a problem. And then there's a bunch of guiding questions here. And one of the, and of course, they will talk about the name of the influencer, geographic elements, so on and so forth. They will even create a timeline using our events tool. And this is the perfect tool for that because they can type in here dates, you know, what happened exactly in which date. They will put in here milestones of the history of that city and even map it on a Google map, and they will be able to see all that. And then moving on, they will kind of go to basically talk about what is a utopian city. And in this case, they will move out of Project Pals and go into a software, something like a SimCity or SketchUp or Tinkercad, and design a city that they, their own utopian city. And once they have that, then they will move on and start talking about the other aspects of managing that city. Like, for example, what is the city charter and so on. So they will, and the way to manage these type of projects, of course, is by having a team that's working all this and making some of the team members into experts. So somebody is going to be the expert of the city charter, and somebody else is going to be the expert on the governance. And the whole idea is that by becoming those experts, they have the opportunity to talk to each other and to discuss different aspects, because each of them is an expert in something. They will present to the other team members and discuss whatever they found out. And this way they can put together a whole picture about the city, about the transportation, the maps, tourism, and finally a reflection about their whole experience. Let me just tell you that probably within a week, you guys are also going to have in here a discussion app. The discussion app will have a little button that you can press, and then the discussion window opens up, and kids will be able to discuss with each other all kinds of reflections about their experiences on each tab. So basically, this is really becoming a very dynamic environment. And we will also allow the class, so if this is a team of 3 students, we'll allow the class to weigh in as well about the project. So this is more like a social studies type of thing, but we also have those type of projects like science projects. So for example, design an innovative product that or process that promotes health, promotes healthy living. And so this is more a science project. Again, the same idea. First, they are talking about the engineering design process, and then they are moving on to define the problem, what problem they are trying to solve. And from there, they will research that problem and what we need to know, what we learned, and so on. They even will use these sticky notes to kind of brainstorm about their ideas. Then they will do the design. Once they know what they want to design or process that they want to create, they will come up with it with design files here that they can replace all these with their design files. Even describe their design in this event tool, step by step, how that design is going to look like. And here this medical product, what are the characteristics of it, and so on. The prototype, create the prototype, and start the testing, and finally evaluate their testing, and of course go and promote it. Maybe create like an elevator pitch for it, and so on. So that's a different one. That's more like a science project. Again, this is a team project, more like a real project-based learning project, I would say. So what I would like to suggest is that you browse through these projects. You can go to the catalog. You can also filter it by starter project, which are very short project, a day or two. For example, you can start with the brainstorm template. Brainstorms are good for everything. Or you can go to just, just a general template, something like, if you want to do a science experiment, you can use our science template or historical event, or, any of these general topics that you have here. Engineering design process, that's also available as a template. And move on to lesson plans, and maybe in the lesson plan, go through all these and check it out, which one is the one that you warm up to, or you think that your students can enjoy. And finally, if you really want to see how a finished project looks like, it's a good idea to just review some of these, just go through them and see what you can expect from your students once they are finished. And finally, these are the single tab templates. And I just want to show you. So these are a single tab that all they do is just one tab that's dedicated to one thing. And you can mix and match them in different ways. So many times you don't find anything in the catalog, but you can find, for example, if you're doing a research or something like that in any topic, here you have a research notes template. You can be in any subject. It doesn't matter what subject this is. And you can combine it with some analysis or maybe some conclusion or you know, you even have the entire innovation in the single tab. So you can combine, we have a whole series of innovation templates that start with the innovation observation, innovation, one second. Where is that? Oh, it starts with the brainstorm, moves on to the research and design. So you can combine all these, and I'm going to show you in a minute how you can combine all that using our wizard and the testing and so on. So what you can do is, let's go to my drafts here. I'm going to click on the plus button. And when I click on the plus button, I'm going to name it, let's say, my innovation project. And I'm going to move on. I'm going to just skip the description. You can type the description later. You can also type it now if you wish to. And of course, you will add an image. To add an image, I'm usually opening a new tab in Google, typing in here innovation, and just going to images here, selecting any image for the innovation. Let's say that I'm selecting this one. I'm going to right click and copy image address, and then go back to Project Pulse, and where it says insert URL, I'm going to just paste. And you can also search, by the way, on the hard drive if you wish to get an image from there, and then click OK. And here it gives you the options of different templates to start the project with. But if you don't like it, you just click on the more templates. And here, all these innovation that I was talking about is here. And we'll start with innovation observation. I want to start with the innovation brainstorm, sorry. So I'm going to start with that. That's going to be my beginning. And then I'm going to move on and add another phase. And this time again, I'm going to click on the more templates because those are the innovation. And then I'm going to move on to innovation research and add another phase. And again, you can go and add the entire innovation design. So research, innovation, prototype. I need design first, and then prototype after that, and so on. So you got the idea what you can do here. And prototype is here. So I'm just going to finish. There's more, by the way, for innovation. You can still have additional ones. But I'm just going to finish here just to show you what I got. And what I got here is all the 4 tabs that I combined together. I started with research, with innovation observation, moving on to research. And so what this saves you is that you don't have to design these tabs. They already exist, and your students can start working immediately. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to go through these projects, and decide what do you want to do, and just pick a project before I will continue further. And you know what? I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to do that. So so let me respond to the question. Yes, you can edit any of these templates. So once you either clone a project from the catalog or you create it using the wizard, you can open it and change everything in it, everything. And I'm going to show you how. The next question is, students could be assigned roles. So there's no per se role that you can put in Project Pulse, but you probably should do that. And so, but the way that that can be actually reflected in Project Pulse is by assigning tasks. So here is the project. Here is the project dashboard. One of its menu items is the task board, and you can click on the new task and type in here. So let's say that Joe is going to be the expert for I don't know, for the previous projects that we were talking about. He's going to be the expert on researching. I'm looking at the innovation right now on researching whether there is already an innovation like that, you know, and somebody will be the expert on the design or something like that. You know, so this is the place to decide and to describe exactly what each student is doing. So in a way, you are assigning roles, especially if you are going to fill the tasks. Many times the students will fill the tasks. What students are seeing is, and let me log out of here and log in as a student, and I'm going to show you what students are seeing. So this is a student. They don't have my drafts because they are not authoring projects, but they have all projects. These are all their projects, all the projects they participate in. They also have access to the school catalog and the district catalog. And the reason for that is that finished projects can be posted there for everybody to see. We are still working on stripping the projects from any identifiable information such as analytics, but that is coming very soon. So you'll be able to actually post those projects in the school or district catalog, and other people can see it without any identifying information. And then profile, of course, and then the students can see all their classes and they can go to their classes. So if they go to the science class, I mean, they see all the projects that they participate in the science class, for example, or robotics class, you know, so they see everything that they are part of in those classes. Now, by the way, if you find a tab in any project, and that is not part of our one tab templates, and you would like to combine that with something else that you're doing, you can do that. And let me show you. I'm going to sign out of the student view. And let me show you how you do that. So let's say that, oops, I did not sign out correctly. That's right. So let's say that I want to go to this Design the City of Your Dreams project. And I decide that I actually like the part of the city history. And I would like to use it in another project, something about social studies or something like that. I can now copy this tab. But before you do that, you need to actually create a new project. So the way to do this really is to click on the plus button here and to type the name of the project. And I'm going to skip all these things, and I'm going to choose the blank tab and finish. This is the project from scratch. This is how you create the project from scratch. And here now I can go back to that project that I wanted to copy the tab from. So let's say that was the City of Your Dreams. And I'm going to go to, and again, you cannot do this directly from the catalog. You have to actually clone this project first and then use your version to copy it. So I'm going to right click here on the city history. I'm going to say copy tab. And here it gives me the last project that I created. It gives me that name on the top, and I'm going to click on that. Now, when I go back to the project layout, and I'm going to my new project, then I'm going to see that this is the empty tab that I had previously, but here I have now the city history that I just copied. So even if you don't find in the one tabs anything that applies to you, but you do find in other projects, you can still add them to a new project that you create. About individual students, and there was a question about that. Yes, you can assign projects in Project Pulse to individual students, and you can assign it to teams. Like I said before, I would probably assign individual student projects, such as the one that I mentioned before, you know, something like the math of obesity probably wouldn't be a team project. That would be an individual project. But something like design the city of your dreams would. That would be a team project because multiple students can have their own roles and they can all collaborate and discuss and so on and so forth. And the dynamic is so much more positive between the students because they feel like they, you know, like they investigate something important. And yeah, but you definitely can find here also projects that are like this one, for example, that you can just assign to individual students. Both are available, and if in a minute I'm going to show you how to assign the project that you picked to your class. Please let me know if I can move on to show you how to assign a project to a class. If you had a chance already to kind of decide on a project. And even if you did not completely finish that, that's fine. I mean, now you know how to start your own project, so you can even do it later. So you can just pick something just to kind of practice. Okay, so we can now move on. Okay, so let me show you how I am taking this innovation project that I just created and how I will assign it to a class. I'm going to click on my innovation project. And the dashboard is here. And one of the things we have in the dashboard is assign to class. I'm going to click on assign to class. And you know what? But before I do that, I have to tell you something that I forgot to tell you, and I have to emphasize it. So this is the project. If you plan to change anything, this is the time to do it before you assign. Because after you assign, if you plan to provide them with tasks, this is the time to do it. Do all the tasks, provide them with all the tasks and everything. You should do everything before you assign, because once you assign it, you cannot do it anymore. But even if you forgot to create tasks previously, your students can. So you forgot, you can still delegate. You can still tell them, you know what, your task should be this and this, and then they will set up their own task. So it's not the end of the world. But generally, editing your tabs and everything, changing things, all that has to happen before you assign it. Once you assign it, that's it. Okay. Now I'm going to click on assign to class. And here I'm going to pick a class. So so let's say that this is a robotics innovation project. I'm going to assign it to robotics. And here, once I select the class that I want to assign it to, it gives me two buttons, create teams and skip teams and assign. So the create teams is when you decide who's going to work in a team. The skip teams and assign is when you decide to delegate it. And when you delegate it to a team, then usually you have to decide who is the team leader, because only the team leader will do the next steps here. So let's just focus first on the create teams. I'm going to click on create teams. And I'm going to now I have the list of the roster in that class. And I can start now teaming up. So let's say I'm going to team up this student with this student, and I'm going to click add team. And this one with this team and add team. And it shows you the teams as they are created. And final, that's it. Now that I've finished and I assigned everybody, I can now finish and assign. Now here are my 4 groups. These are my 4 groups. And now when students are coming to this class, when students are coming to this class, then they are logging in, and they come to the robotics class, and they find here they find their project tile with their name, and they click on it and start working. Now you're probably asking, so how do I do this for individuals? You're doing the same process for individuals, except for when you are selecting who are the students who are going to participate, you're just selecting one student at a time. That way, the name that shows up is just one name. That's the only difference. Okay. Now let's look at what happens when you decide to delegate something. So I'm going to go back to my drafts, and I'm going to take my new project, and I'm going to assign, and I'm going to open it. And I'm going to go to assign to class, but this time I'm going to, let's say this is going to be social studies. And this time I'm going to skip teams and assign. In this case, what happens is that under assignments here, this is the social studies class, but under assignments, I have now my new project on the top. When your students are coming to the class, that team leader that you decided on is going to come and look in the class, look at the assignments, and it says here not started. So they click on it, and here it says start assignment. And so that team leader is going to press on start assignment, and here it tells them that only the team leader can do this, and then confirm here. And now that team leader can decide who is going to team up with in this project, and then press start. And each team leader has to do this in this case. So when I go back to that social studies class, here is my new project, and here are the other 2 members that are going to work with me on this project. Okay. So that's how you can, this is how you can actually assign projects to a class. Now I would like to focus a little bit more on the project, on the tools that we have inside that you can start using. And I'm going to use this innovation project. Maybe, maybe I'm going to go to the science class. Sorry, what was it? It was robotics, sorry. I'm going to go to the robotics class, and I'm going to just go in here and click inside one of the projects. And so the project dashboard, you already know that every single of these tabs has the instructions box that you, before you assign the project, can type up instructions here for the student what to do in this project, in this tab. Of course, you have the project details. If you want to upload a video, you can do that here. You can change the status here. So this is right now in progress. But if the student finished, they have the ability to click on finish. You as a teacher can also have the ability to click on graded. And of course, this is the place to also describe the project and so on. So that's the project detail, team members. So these are the team members now. Now you can see that this is the teacher is showing up and the students next to it. And standards, you can, before, again, this is something you need to do before you assign. Of course, you add the standards. What are the standards? And again, it's very easy. Click on it, select, let's say that this is Common Core. Let's say that this is English language, and then the grade level. And then it provides you with a list of all these Common Core standards for those grade levels. And all you have to do is just check mark the ones that are relevant for this project, and they will be listed here as you see here. Tasks, I already showed you how to do that. By the way, tasks can be done by you and can also be done by the students. Assign to class, I just show you how that works. Publish to catalog. And you can right now, so you cannot publish to the global, it's only me, but you can publish to the district and the account catalog. And in this case, let's say that you design a template, you design a project template that you think that is beneficial to other teachers. You can publish it to the school catalog and other teachers can use it and they can start their own projects with your template. So that is available already now. Publishing finished projects, you can also do that, but right now it is still not stripped of identifying information. So I would not recommend to do it until we are resolving that issue. And then evaluate. This is the new section that we just added. This is where you can add rubrics for the project. You can add any Google Sheet or any type of Office 365, wherever you have your rubrics, you can add it the same way as you would add media. Just click on it. You can upload it from the hard drive or insert the URL to it. And it's going to be listed here when students come in here. They can open it and see exactly what the rubrics are for the project. And analytics, as I said before, you are not going to see anything right now because nothing happened so far. I mean, there's a team here, but they have not yet logged into the project and they have not done anything yet. As they start working, a big pie chart will show up here for the contribution of these two students to the project. And they will be able to see exactly what percentage of the work had been done by each student. Okay, so now we are, as I said in our previous presentation, Project Pulse breaks down a project into phases, and these are tabs, like tabs in a browser, and each phase is in one of these tabs. I also showed you that there are instructions for each tab, so you can specifically define the instructions for the students in each of these tabs. Students will come here, and as I said before, I definitely recommend that either you or the students themselves will decide on what each of them is doing. In this case, so for example, there is a brainstorming here. It's a good idea if every student adopts a color. And they will then use this. This is click to edit. All they have to do is just read what it says here and replace this with the actual research that they made about, I mean, they will come up with some ideas about the innovation that they are planning. They can also use Google here to import their surveys. And in order to import anything, image, video, or anything like that, They use the the third tool here. And this is, we actually have a few surveys here, but to add a survey from their own accounts, all they have to do is click on the plus button here. They can upload it from their own hard drive, or they can insert here the Google Share, copy the Google Share link and paste it here. And then that file is going to be included here. Once the file is here, then just click on it and place it on the workspace. And here is a survey. And in order to open it, of course, just double click on it and it opens in a new window. And there is the survey. So one of the great things about Project Pals is that you can actually combine. So we are not trying to compete with Google. We are not trying to compete with Google. Google does what it does and it does it excellently. But what's great about Project Pals is that it has these tabs that kind of provide you with a view of the big picture. And you can then import the small details, like you need a survey or you need a Google Sheet that, gives you some, maybe some information that's more fitting that you do there. And then the students have then the detail all combined in one place, and they have it in all these tabs. And that helps them come up with some educated decisions in solving the problem that they are trying to solve. So like I said before, text is really easy. You have all the editing tools here, everything you need, including formulas if you need formulas. Importing images, again, very easy. Like I showed before, copy image address. When you go to Google here, you just copy the image address and you go back to Project Pals, go to the media here, click insert that URL that you just copied and click OK. And there is that image. Now I can click on it. And by the way, you can click on multiple images if you wish and drop them all at once and place on the workspace. And now it's really small, but you can make it bigger. You can do all kinds of things with it, including get rid of it by clicking on the three dots and archive the object. Now, as I said before, we don't believe in deleting anything permanently. Okay? Everything that you remove from the workspace goes to the archive. Now, how do you restore something that you put in the archive? This is the content library. The first one, the first tool is the content library. And the content library has every piece of text here that you see, images, anything, everything is listed here. And it's actually, no, images are not, but everything else is here. Images are in the media section. So if you need to put anywhere prototype feedback, again, for some reason, you don't need to rewrite it. You just need to go to it, copy to workspace, and there it is. Now, because this is a old project, I don't know why it puts it in so big, but it's no problem to resize it. And there you have it. You can, again, add it to the system. To a new tab or anything like that, where you plan something where you need information that you already had before, you can do that. Now, in the same place, we also have the archive. So on the top, you can switch to show archived. Now, because like I said, images are not really archived because they already are in the media section and can be restored anytime. So if you put it in the wrong place, you can always come back to it and put it on the workspace. But if I was going to do this, archive this object, and then go to the archive here and show archived, it shows this one. And then I click on the arrow here and I say restore. And there it goes. It's back in its place with all the formatting and everything. Now, we are getting very close to the end of this session. So we will continue this next week. The teacher can, let me just go over for a minute on question that you were asking. When we're working on the same document, how do they share the document with each other? So yes, all students are going to work on everything here. They will see everything. If I'm moving this, the other team member will see that happening in real time. The sharing is done in a way, I mean, my recommendation is to do it by tasks. So to assign tasks that every student knows what they need to do in the project. And of course, in this situation, for example, in brainstorming, each student can have their own color. And then they will write their own brainstorming, their own innovation ideas, and then they discuss it. And like I said, we are going to have a discussion box, so they can even type up their discussion if they are in remote locations or something like that. And so that's the way that that I would do this, the sharing of the work. Or in cases that you can actually assign experts. So an expert in doing this part of the project, an expert in something like that, something else, and so on. So that would be the way that I would do that. The teacher can remove a student who was assigned into a group, definitely. And I will also show you how they can, and let me just really fast do this. I know that we are close to our time. But to remove, for example, if I am in the robotics class and I want to remove a student from this class, I will go to members, and here is the trash can. And you can just click on the trash can and it will ask you, are you sure? And if you say, okay, then it's going to remove that student, or you can remove a co-teacher and so on. Okay, wonderful. So we are going to continue this next week because we still have to cover a few more tools and things. But and please feel free to send me any questions or to come up with questions for next week. I'm always happy to answer all your questions. Thank you, everybody. I know. Oh, we still have 2 minutes. My God. Wonderful. That's great. Unmute. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. And thanks a lot. Bye, everybody. And I'm going to see you next week.